Wominjeka everyone, Wominjeka meaning welcome. My name is Auntie Julianne and I'm an out of the Wurundjeri Woi-wurrung people, and in recognition of doing my welcome to country, I'd like to pay my respects to my elders past, present, future and any elders that were here today, and I would also like to welcome you all here today. The Wurundjeri Woi-wurrung tribe consists of three families, the Nevins, the Terricks and the Wandins, and I'm part of the Nevin family. The three families all descend from one woman called Annie Barratt, which makes us one big family. Annie Barratt is the youngest sister of William Barratt, a pioneer for Aboriginal people in the 19th century, fighting for equality and land rights. I'm here today to welcome you all to the land of my ancestors. We call the land within our tribal boundaries our country. The Kulin Nation, Kulin meaning man, is made up of 5 groups. They are the Wurundjeri Woi-wurrung, Boonwurrung, Tanarong, Wathaurong and Dja Dja Wurrung. And to give you an outline of the Wurundjeri country and the area we cover, Wurundjeri country extends from north to the Great Dividing Range, east to Mount Baw Baw, south to the Morley Creek and west to the Werribee River. We cover a diverse range of land from the mountains to the beach and everything in between. Many thousands of years ago, if an Aboriginal person from another tribe wanted to cross our boundary, they would have to sit at the boundary and wait for the Narragadah, which is the headman, or an elder to come past to give permission to cross. Traditional Aboriginal culture was highly territorial, and visitors risked a violent reprisal for crossing a tribal or clan boundary without this permission, and this is how a welcome to country originated in our culture. Traditionally, being welcomed onto country meant you respected Bunjil's law. Bunjil, the wedge-tailed eagle, is our creator, and Wah the crow is our protector. And as long as you looked after the country, you had access to our waterways and our land resources. And when you enter our country, we ask that you respect our resources, our fauna, flora and water, as they are very special to us. And when you are ready to leave, we ask that you leave it the way you found it.
We have lots of council services that support our community. We support families with children, including health services for children and mums, vaccinations, playgroups, childcare, and kinder. We support young people in our community. Through events and activities, we have services that can support people with disability, older people, and carers and family of people with disability and older people. Our libraries support everyone in our community, help people learn new things, and are free to join. We support our community to have fun and be active through events and activities, sport, and recreation areas. We help look after our places and spaces, the environment, and local businesses. We have laws to keep people safe, to make sure buildings are safe, to make sure roads and footpaths are safe, to make sure our places and spaces are safe. We make sure everyone follows the law to keep our community safe and happy. Moonee Valley. It's a great place to live, work, and visit.
Welcome to the Council meeting. I'm Councillor Piers Tyson, Mayor of Moonee Valley City Council. We aim to get started every second Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. However, sometimes there are some delays behind the scenes that we need to work through, and we appreciate your patience. You can have a look at our agenda online for all the issues that we'll be talking about tonight, and we look forward to seeing you soon. Thanks. So every second Tuesday we work through our council agenda, and what that means is working through things from procedural, day-to-day issues, financial reports, all the way up to the most important things in Moonee Valley, in Victoria or in Australia. And councillors can put up alternatives to that, can put up our staff officers' recommendation, and we can debate that and vote yes or no at the end of the day.
Welcome everybody to tonight's informal meeting to hear submissions on the draft budget for 2024-25. On behalf of Moonee Valley City Council, I respectfully acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we meet, the Wurundjeri Woi-wurrung people of the Kulin Nation, and pay my respects to their ancestors, community members past and present. I'd also like to extend this respect to other Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples here today. So the purpose of tonight's meeting is for councillors to hear the community's feedback on the draft 2024-25 budget. It should be noted that council is not making any decisions tonight on the budget. The actual budget will be endorsed at the council meeting on the 25th of June. We have had a large number of responses on the draft budget to date, consisting of 107 submissions and 67 feedback points. Some responses included multiple feedback and submissions. So we have a full gallery tonight, and what will happen tonight is each presenter will have about 3 minutes to present to council, and then there'll be a potential opportunity for questions. Tonight's gallery is, well, everyone in the gallery, it is live streamed. Our meeting tonight is live streamed, so you may be recorded, so I'm just letting you know about that. Extend a warm welcome to all of you who are present or watching online. We very much thank you for your input into our budget for this upcoming year. So we do have an apology, councillors, from Councillor Jacob Bettio, and I do need to note that our Mayor, Councillor Tyson, is unable to be here in person, but he's joining us via Zoom up on the screen there. So, councillors, are there any conflicts of interest to be declared this evening, please? Councillor Adams?
Apologies, I should have looked up the item number. I'd like to declare a conflict of interest with item number 143, item 20 being presented, as my family member is a volunteer junior coach for Moonee Ponds Soccer Club. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Adams. Does any other councillor have any conflicts in any item tonight? No? Okay, thank you. So we'll now move to the part of the meeting where we hear from the submitters directly. So we have a total of 26 community members who have registered to speak this evening. However, 4 can no longer attend. So as I said earlier, we have allowed 3 minutes for each speaker, and allowing also for a couple of minutes for points of clarification if they are needed. So I'll invite our first speaker up tonight, please, which is Rob Blatchford from Planning Group A, Bowles Complex Development in Essendon.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Councillor Sharp and Mayor Pearce on camera and councillors. On behalf of the members of the Buckley Park Bowls Club, the Maribyrnong Park Bowls Club and Essendon Bowls Club, I thank you for this opportunity to further advance the case for funding to be allocated this year for the Bowls Complex development in Essendon. We are now in our 4th year of planning for this situation, for the development that we've proposed. And in every consultation we've had with councillors, with members of state and federal government, we've had glowing support for a project everybody sees as a win-win-win. A win for Bowls, a win for the community, a win for other developments in vacated sites within the municipality. We're grateful for the support expressed by council and others. And we're also grateful that so far council has funded the initial architectural concept work, and in this past year has funded the feasibility study. And as you're aware, that study has found no impediments and only positive, so governments at all levels can invest in confidence in the project. Now, however, is not the time to stall. It is vital that detailed planning proceeds so we have the project shovel ready for next year. This is important so that to coincide with the democratic cycles of state and federal government, we can maximise the benefit of what can come from those levels and minimise the pressure on Moonee Valley Council's own budget. But the timing is the crucial factor. Can I stress some of the key points in our submission? All of our clubs are run by volunteers for volunteers. So it's not funded, it's our volunteer work that's making the difference. Relative to other sports clubs, bowls has been underfunded in recent decades, and we understand that because there are so many bowls clubs within the municipality. We see this as an opportunity for council to redress that in relation to the citizens and ratepayers who do play bowls within the municipality. We're aware, and there have been consultations going back decades, that the council has wanted to reduce the number of bowls clubs within the municipality. There are more bowls clubs within this municipality than any other municipality in the state, in the country, and in fact internationally. And so we understand there's been a catch-22 for council in making its decisions in support of those ratepayers who do play bowls. In doing so, the development will see us increase participation on a reduced footprint. Now that's something special to achieve for us as bowlers, but also for the municipality. We have a facility planned that will be able to operate 24/7, 365. On top of that, we are not just asking for funds, we're actually giving something back. Freeing up land at Windy Hill and Maribyrnong Park, we're advised if they were commercial sites worth $10 million each, we're giving those back for council use, even though they're not ours. It would be hard to move us off if we didn't want to lead this change, and we're asking for much less than that in total. We need to remember bowls is a most inclusive and community building sport. It is age inclusive, family inclusive, gender inclusive, ability and disability inclusive, and data on the growth in community engagement at local level and nationally is significant. It would be fantastic to see Moonee Valley have a leading edge facility for bowls. At the moment we see a flow of bowlers leaving the municipality, particularly in the winter months, to go to such facilities in other municipalities where the facilities are funded by poker machines. We don't want to go down that path. We want this to be an Essendon Community Bowls Club, very much about the community, a community hub, including bowls and not reliant on poker machines. So we please ask that we're not forced to go down that path. We look forward to your support for the planning funding this year, so we're shovel ready so that we're all better off. Not just in the short term with this development, but the longer strategic term for council with the use of 2 other sites. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rob. You've certainly got a good team of support behind you there, so thank you. Does any councillor have any points of clarification for Rob? Yes, Councillor Adams?
Thanks, Deputy Mayor. Thanks, Rob, for your presentation. Congratulations on this initiative. Council has sought to rationalise the number of bowls clubs in Moonee Valley for decades, and this project achieves that outcome for us. I understand, as you said, that some feasibility investigation has commenced. Why is the timing of planning funding critical this coming financial year?
The timing is critical on the advice we've had in terms of having it shovel ready to attract the maximum amount we can get from state and federal government for next year. Clearly the support that council's given us so far is really appreciated. The verbal support is clearly recognising this as win-win-win. The view is it's going to happen, but if we leave this year lapse, then it may be a long, long time, and that means council misses out on the opportunity of those other sites as well. So the timing's crucial to maximise the input we can get from the upper levels of government.
Thanks, Rob.
Thank you, Councillor Adams. Any other councillor? Okay, well, thank you very much, Rob. Great to see you. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Okay. Our next speaker is Sean. Isn't you? You're not Sean? Sean? No? Okay. Our next speaker is Anthony Gray.
Hello, thank you. You said it was informal, so I'm just going to get straight into it. Thank you for hearing me out. I'm here just asking for some lights at Alf Pierce Reserve Dog Park, and there's 2 main points I want to make. Number one, it's impossible to use at night. There's no lights. It's pitch black dark. And in winter, 5:30, you can't use it. So absolutely wasted. And the second point is we need to make that usable at night. And the only way we can do that is to have lights. There are so many reasons why we need to have lights there so that people can use it. You guys all work till late. When you get home, the only option you have to walk your dog is in the night around the suburbs. If this dog park had lights, you can go there. So I'm trying to rush through all these reasons. There are disabled people that go there that can't walk their dogs. They have to take them to the park and sit them there. Some of them work. They can't get there till 5:30. It's dark. Then it's the safety reasons. It's not safe to go there at night. Not only because you'll trip over everything, but just who knows who's there at night time. The biggest thing for me is the connections. I've met so many people at the dog park, humans, that I've connected with. And for mental health reasons, we all know the importance of mental health in today's society for everybody. And that is the only connection that a lot of people have in the community, is that moment, that short time with other dog lovers. We share that with them, that we all have that in common. We love dogs and we connect. And for me personally, it just makes my day. And I'm getting emotional. Sorry. And I need to exercise my dog a lot. He's a husky, and there's a lot of people that need that. They exercise themselves there, but once it gets to 5:30, you can't see anything. It's pitch black dark. There are so many people that finish work late, and they just simply miss out, and they cannot get there. But for me, the biggest thing is connection. The people, if you've ever been there, you'll meet them yourself. The people there. I haven't even talked about the dogs yet. The benefits the dogs get out of it is, I don't think I need to, because that's quite obvious. But the human benefits are just, you cannot even put into words. But we can't use it past 5:30 in winter. You just can't. I've tried once. I stood on my poor dog's paw. I stood in dog poo, and I just couldn't see a thing. It is pitch black dark. I've actually knocked on the door of every single house minus one. They weren't home, and just to get their thoughts, because if they all said they didn't want it, I wouldn't have bothered, because they're the residents. And they all said, as long as they're off by a reasonable hour, 9 o'clock, that's fine by us. And I went, cool. I have all their names and I have their addresses, just in case you need that. So that's for the local residents. And just the benefits are just countless. And I only have 3 minutes, so I cannot go on much further. But I hope I've got across how important it is and how many people it will affect and benefit to get. And we don't need much, just like one light, just pointing down, one light to shine on the dog park. We don't need this like a stadium full or anything like that. So yeah, that's about it. I think I've probably forgotten some things, but that's the main gist of it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Anthony. You've got a crew behind you too, so thank you.
I don't even know that.
Any councillor have any questions for Anthony on this one? Councillor Isa?
Oh, look, just a quick one, and thanks for having such passion for your animal welfare and all. Obviously, if we did move forward with that sort of project, we'd have to do surveys and trials and sort of investigate what worked best. But what sort of time at night do you think would be the latest that might
turn
be?
off?
Yeah.
9 at the latest. 9 o'clock. In summer, it's light till 9. And in winter, 9 at the latest. Between 8 and 9, more than enough time. A reasonable time. And that's what all the people that I spoke to, and I have their names and addresses, agreed. That as long as it's turned off by 9, that's fine by us. And that's more than enough for me and for everybody I've spoken to. 9 o'clock, for sure. Just so we can get there. So I had to race to get there before to come, because I couldn't go after this, pitch black. So yeah, 9 o'clock at the latest is a reasonable time, I believe. No worries.
Thank you. Any other councillor wish to? Councillor Adams?
There's been a lot of community feedback around the popularity of our dog parks and their usage in winter months after 5:30 p.m. when it gets dark. So thank you very much for coming in and pleading that case. It's actually really lovely to know that these dog parks are so well utilised and loved. So thank you for taking the time to come in and present.
No worries.
And
Thanks
for also
listening.
doing some community consultation as well.
No worries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Cheers.
Thank you. Thanks, Anthony. All right, our next speaker, please, if I could ask Nerida Lloyd to come up and present your submission. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and fellow councillors. Thank you for the opportunity to speak this evening. My name is Nerida Lloyd and I've been recently appointed as a Female Development Champion at Moonee Valley Knights Soccer Club. Moonee Valley Knights has had a long and proud connection with the Moonee Valley community. The club was previously homed at Ferdburn Park for the last 30 years and recently reallocated to the Dole Street location in Avondale Heights. Moonee Valley Knights, in collaboration with Football Victoria and Football Australia, has committed to ambitiously working towards a 50-50 gender player balance by 2027. Our journey to date has included 3 amazing girls teams with possibility of creating another team due to the demand of girls wanting to join the fun sport of soccer in the area. As part of the club's 2025 vision, I'm proud to announce that we are formulating a female and women's division, which will also, I plan, to be part of our succession planning for our junior girls team, and also looking for opportunities for mentoring of the junior teams by senior members. In addition, the club recognises the importance of female role models in our junior teams' lives, and currently I'm arranging key speakers to visit our family nights to discuss topics such as pre-game stretching and healthy eating, building a healthier mindset when dealing with complex relationships, and also arranging an open panel of females in senior leadership within the community and international corporate companies. The club is committed to strengthening its connection with the community and is focusing on specifically creating special activities for our superpower supporting mums, bi-weekly training sessions, and also I'm arranging with the collaboration of Football Victoria a Go Soccer Mums program. The female growth in our club is actually facing a number of key barriers, which is hindering my vision for bringing females into the team and the sport that I love. Recently, we've relocated to Dole Street and there is no separate or suitable change room facilities for female players, supporters or visitors on game days. It's been noticed that our previous tenants at Dole Street, where Avondale Heights, did not require change room facilities for females or visitors, as their female teams were homed at Fernburn Park, and until recently there were portable toilets also, but they've recently been removed. After inspection of the Moonee Valley Knights' new location by senior committee members and Football Victoria recently, it's been deemed that the state of the facilities is not suitable for female players due to a number of noted gaps. These gaps include open showers, urinals and non-lockable toilets. Also, there's been concern around about the safety of our junior team members using such an open layout of change rooms in itself. I'm very passionate about bringing women into football, and especially girls, as I see it's an opportunity to build friendships outside of school as they navigate through difficult years at school and also the demands of society on young women these days. Tonight, I'd like to submit to the Council the Health Plan Initiative, Draft Budget 2024-25, a funding request to update the Dole Street facilities to support the club's passion and strategy to building sustainable growth for women and girls football at our club in providing female-friendly facilities. Thank you for your time this evening and consideration.
Thank you very much, Nerida. Does any councillor have any points of clarification on this submission? Councillor Saipe?
Thank you, Merida, for coming and doing that presentation. I was there a couple of weeks ago, as you know, and I noticed that the restroom facilities are going to be removed, those temporary ones. Is that a very big concern as well?
Yes, it is, because at the moment we have no separate facility that we can offer female visitors or players, and I believe it has been removed. It's been removed, yes.
So there's no facilities for females?
No facilities at all.
Right.
It's actually an emergency. It's not one facility. You're using the one toilet for all the girls that are there.
Yeah, and also there was safety concerns as well with children.
So there's one female toilet there, is that right?
Well,
it's
actually
a disabled toilet. It's a mixed toilet.
Okay, and on a weekend, how many people would you have there?
I think on Sunday we had 250.
250 at least. We have games constantly from people from there from 8 o'clock in the morning to the seniors finishing at around 4 p.m.
The portables need to go back.
Sorry, just our mayor won't be able to hear. You don't. sorry, just because you don't have a microphone, so if we can just maybe keep the conversation to the microphones, because otherwise...
Yes, certainly. Sorry for those online that can't hear. We're actually stating that it is quite urgent that we get those facilities, the portable toilets back in while we submit this submission to get the facilities upgraded. Currently, we've had to use a disabled toilet. It's allocated to females. We've had to place temporary signage up on there as well. On game day, I think last Sunday, we had about 200 visitors, especially within our junior team players. A lot of the mums come and support, especially my amazing girls teams. So we really do request, while our consideration for a full upgrade is considered, that we do get the temporary facilities placed back onto Dole Street location, please.
Thank you, Nerida. Any other councillor? No? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you for your time.
Thanks for coming in. Thank you. Okay, our next speaker is Mark Parkinson from FC Strathmore Split Soccer Club. So Mark, I believe you have a PowerPoint presentation and 2 separate submissions?
I do. And okay, great. Absolutely. Thank you to everyone in attendance, councillors, and a real genuine pleasure to have the opportunity to present this proposal to you tonight. What I'm presenting on, and in light of the previous speaker as well, noting some of the points that were put forward, FC Strathmore Split is a growing community football club located on Mascoma Street in the Moonee Valley Council area. And we now have over 20 teams participating in competition through the season. Over 250 junior players now, that's females and male players at the club. And with the growing club, we've found that our facilities, as they currently are in place, and in particular the car park infrastructure, has been a increasingly growing challenge for the club to navigate through, and we request that some money be set aside in the 2024-2025 budget to look at feasibility studies into how to improve the car park facilities that we have at our club. I'm also as well as being involved in the club as a coach for the under-10 boys. My daughter also participates in the club. I'm also a local resident and I live on Mascoma Street. So my family at every home game walks down to the club, and for us to get down to the club facilities, we don't generally drive down because we're so close, but we have a 2-year-old and we have to navigate down a pretty steep access way to get down to the club with the pram. And every time we do that, we're navigating through quite a hectic situation with cars coming and going. The sufficiency of car parking at the club is a bit of a problem, but also both local community members that are not involved in the club using that access way, plus ourselves to get down to the club, in and around the traffic coming in and out of the club facilities and off Mascoma Street is quite troubling for us, and it's a safety risk for us every time we navigate that path. So what we're requesting as a club is some funding to put into a feasibility study to look at car park expansion options and also safety considerations. Mascoma Street on game day, and I understand that there will be some councillors attending the reopening of our pitch after some investment in upgrading the pitch over summer. Do encourage you to come down and see what happens on game day, or in fact training nights, navigating in and out of the car park from Mascoma Street, and you'll see for yourself the challenges that are there for the club and all the participants. We do have in our submission some other upgrades that we're requesting for our facilities at the club, but by far and away the car park infrastructure and the safety concerns around the car park infrastructure are the primary reason why we've put this submission in tonight.
Thank you, Mark. Does any councillor wish to ask Mark a point of clarification on this submission? Councillor Byrne?
Thanks, Deputy Mayor. I'm obviously familiar with the car park. Would you say the majority of people that park in it, and I understand you might not know the answer to this, but would the majority of people who park in it be from the away teams? Because, like, do regulars just don't go there, or...?
It's away teams and it's home teams as well.
So people still try to go down even if they...
Correct. And the club has taken measures on game days, knowing how difficult it is to navigate through, where we do station a marshal at the top of the car park access way. And once the car park is full, we turn people away. And that task in itself and that role is quite an unloved one, because you're dealing with people that are looking to drop their kids off to a soccer game, or in fact enter, and they're getting turned away and have to park quite some way away to then walk back to the club and down that access way. So it's quite difficult.
Is there a drop and go zone?
There isn't a drop and go zone, no.
Would that be something that you would think could be helpful?
That could certainly assist, yes. And on the premise that it would help some of those families that are doing that drop and go. Being a community club, and I know from my own experiences, you're there at the club, you're participating, you're volunteering, so there's not a whole lot of drop and go that occurs, but it does happen.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Byrne. Any other councillor wish to ask Mark a question? No? Okay, well, thank you very much for coming in tonight. Very much appreciated.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Steve Boyle from Strathmore Tennis Club, please. I think, Steve, do you have a PowerPoint presentation as well?
I do have a PowerPoint. Yes, I do. I have a PowerPoint presentation. Thank you. Hello everyone, my name's Steve Boyle. I'm the current president at Strathmore Tennis Club. First of all, let me thank you all for letting me make this presentation tonight in support of our project, and that's to upgrade the toilet facilities at Strathmore and to provide better access for the club rooms and some of the courts. The toilets are more than 60 years old. They're in desperate need of renovation. And looking to the future, we decided that we'd like to take the opportunity to establish disabled facilities as part of that renovation. So we had a feasibility study done and plans drawn up, and the project costed. Now, I've provided details of that, so I presume that you've got copies of that feasibility study. The total cost of the project came in at $168,000, and it's beyond the resources of the club. So my purpose here today is to ask whether or not funding from the council would be available for that. Today I'm going to speak a little bit about the club, about the services it provided to the community and its membership base, the club's financial health, and then I'll speak a little bit about the project. So our courts, we have 7 courts and on 3 different types of service, and we have almost 400 members. The courts are used 7 days a week. We have approximately 200 people in coaching. Most of those are juniors. We have about 220 players at the moment representing the clubs in various competitions, both senior and junior. We have a booker court facility that available for non-members to book the courts and use the courts. Strathmore Secondary College use the court as part of their sports program. Our membership is fairly stable. We have about 370 members at the moment. We have a bit of a churn every year, and a lot of that's due to juniors reaching top age and new juniors joining the club, so it stays about the same. We believe our membership fees are amongst the lowest in the northern suburbs, and we strive to keep them as low as we can. Our current financial health and viability. So we size our membership fees to I guess, run the year-to-year maintenance of the club. Support the court maintenance, buildings and ground maintenance, some new lighting projects, court services, maintenance and replacement. We spent $40,000 about 2 years ago replacing some of the court services, and obviously our utility costs and competition fee. The club works very hard to get external funding and grants for major capital works, and for example, we had shade sails installed in the last year from a grant from the Victorian Government. Just looking at our income, so if you look there, our income is around about, the underlying income is about $60,000 a year from our members, and then we have been able to raise about $20,000 a year for miscellaneous grants for specific projects. Costs pretty much match our income. They're once again around about $60,000 a year. The club aims for a surplus of about $5,000 or $6,000 a year in order to fund new projects. As I said, if you look at those numbers up there, in 2022 we spent $40,000 replacing some court services, and we dipped into our reserves to do that. 2023 our service is $32,000, and that was a grant that we got from Shade Sales for the Shade Sales project.
I don't want to hurry you up, Steve, but you've passed your time, so just considering the other people behind you, we sort of have to
Okay, I
keep
didn't
to
realise it was
time a
going
little
so
bit.
long.
Sorry.
Okay, so I'll just be another minute. Okay, so our recent projects, in the last 8 years, the club has spent over $200,000, and we had very little funding from the council for these projects. With regard to the need for the project, the club was established in the early 60s, and the bathroom facilities are original. They've got tiles falling off the wall, men's showers are unusable, the cement sheeting in the rooms are exposed and are likely to contain asbestos. We've got no handicap facilities. So our project is to demolish and remove the existing male and female toilets, to establish new male and female and disabled toilets, and at the same time provide access to the club rooms in courts 4 and 5. The costs of that has come in at $168,000. Toilet upgrades $136,000, and access to the court is $32,000. And we ask that this project be considered, in the forthcoming budget by the council. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Does any councillor have a question or a point of clarification for Steve on this submission? Councillor Hodgson? Yep.
Thanks, Deputy Mayor. Thanks, Steve, for the presentation. You did outline the club's financials there a little bit. I just wanted to understand if there was any capacity for the club to provide a contribution to the project.
There certainly is, but I would think that the contribution would be in the order of maybe $20,000.
Great.
Yeah, so which, so they're the sort of order of value of the projects that I think the club can sustain under its present financial
Thanks, Steve. That's helpful.
regime.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Hodgson. Anybody else? Any other councillor? Councillor Tyson, sorry.
I was just wondering, Steve, I'm not sure that I had your PowerPoint to hand. I was just wondering if that could be shared around to councillors, just because you got rushed through it a little bit there in the end.
Yeah, so I've got hard copies of the PowerPoint, but if you preferred a soft copy, I've also got it on a little thumb drive here.
Have you got a few?
Yeah, I do. Yes.
Have you got a few hard copies?
I've got a few hard copies. Yes.
Okay, if you'd like to leave them with Damien, that would be Great.
All right.
And I'll make sure that our Mayor gets his copy and I'll distribute it with the other councillors as well.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Thanks very much for coming in.
Okay.
Our next speaker is Jake Crawford from the Airport West Football Club. Thank you, Jake.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to present our request for funding with you today. My name is Jake Crawford and I am the president of Airport West Football Club. Our club was founded in 1961 and now proudly fields 21 teams across the junior and senior program, engaging with more than 650 players and their families. Each week, our club hosts games from Friday to Sunday and can generally accommodate up to 14 matches in a single weekend. Recently, the Moonee Valley City Council completed a safety inspection on our 2 timekeepers boxes on both Hanson and Etzel Reserve, following safety concerns raised by our football club. Regrettably, the findings deemed that these structures were unsafe for use, promoting the immediate decommissioning of both boxes by the council, which has already taken place. These structures, which may seem insignificant to some, are indispensable to the smooth running of our club. The strain on our volunteers has become increasingly apparent due to the absence of proper timekeepers boxes. Without these facilities, our volunteers are forced to contend with adverse weather conditions, limited visibility of the ground, a lack of adequate equipment, and additional setup and pack down responsibilities. This not only compromises the efficiency of our matches, but also places undue stress on those who selflessly give their time to volunteer for our club. The existing facilities were built in the late 1960s and has served its community incredibly well. I reference to you Maureen Murphy, our esteemed senior timekeeper, who has devoted over 3 decades of her life in this role. Maureen is an elderly member of our community who wishes to continue her volunteering services to the club, but subjecting her to the inclement weather is neither safe nor appropriate. The absence of these timekeepers boxes erects formidable barriers to our volunteers, impeding their ability to support our club effectively. By investing in these essential facilities, you will not only enhance the experience of our volunteers, but also demonstrate your commitment to the well-being of our community. Moreover, you will enable us to continue our mission of promoting active lifestyles, fostering friendships, and instilling the very important values of teamwork, sportsmanship, and community into the next generation. As you will note in my original proposal, we are not seeking anything extravagant here. We are seeking a cost-effective solution, such as a 20-foot modified shipping container that will withstand long-term use for generations to come. Like the last ones, hopefully that's the next 60 years. The investment in these 2 structures are vitally important to our club and this community. I'm proud to note that the Airport West Football Club has already embarked on a fundraising campaign to contribute to this investment. We have rallied our stakeholders, urging them to dig deep and donate their own hard-earned cash generously. Now we implore the Moonee Valley City Council to join us in this endeavour and demonstrate your unwavering commitment to our community and provide adequate funding in this budget. I urge you to consider the profound impact that your support can have on the Airport West Football Club and the broader community it serves. Together, let us ensure that our facilities are equipped to meet the needs of all who call our club home and to those who visit us as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jake, for coming in. Any councillor have a question on Jake's present to Councillor O'Neill?
Thanks, Deputy Mayor. Thanks, Jake, for your presentation. Can I just ask what you are using this season for timekeeping since your last ones have been decommissioned?
Yep, so since then we have, for Etzel Reserve, our timekeepers are out in the open. They've just got a trestle table with a portable siren, so they are in the elements. Because the Etzel Reserve timekeepers box was also the scoreboard for that oval, we're now using a manual scoreboard which is in the complete open, and we've already had instances of heavy rain and poor weather for our volunteers, which is incredibly tough. For Hanson Reserve, we've had a club member build a mini structure that is portable, and we've moved that across undercover in front of the old pavilion. However, it's very temporary. It's probably not that safe either. So I'm not sure if it'll make it for the rest of the season, to be honest.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor O'Neill. Any other councillor? Councillor Sopek?
Thanks, Jake. in regard, you mentioned a shipping container, and that's obviously one with a flap that opens up in the front. Is that your preferred type keeper's box, or would you be open to anything else?
Oh, it would certainly be open. A shipping container with an awning that I've proposed is a very cost-effective solution. You can get them relatively cheap. Like I said, we're not after anything extravagant here. We're not trying to, milk the budget or anything like that. We know it's a lot of money. It's a big investment from the council. However, we need the bare basics to make sure that our volunteers aren't subjected to poor conditions. It's hard enough getting volunteers to do these roles, let alone ask them to stand out in the open and cop the adverse weather of Melbourne.
Okay, and is that one container for each oval?
We're asking to replace one container on each oval, so it's 2 containers total.
2 containers total. And in some of the other grounds like Avondale High, East Keilor, you've seen those timekeepers boxes where they're up top and the coach's box and the players' sort of boxes down below. Would you be open, like if that could be an option, would you be open to that as well?
Absolutely. That would be our preference. Of course, we've got preferences of what we would like. We know what best-in-class facilities are out there in the community as well. But at the moment, we're open to receiving anything that we can for the time being. It's not fair for us to call upon our volunteers and put them in these conditions. So whatever we think is doable in this budget would be a priority for us.
Yeah, no, I've known Maureen for many, many years, and she's a wonderful lady and really puts her heart and soul into your club.
She does. Her and her disabled daughter Jackie have both volunteered for over 30 years, and particularly for an elderly member of the community, not to be able to do that task that she has done for so long, it loses that sense of belonging and purpose. So it's important for us that we do rectify this situation.
Thanks, Jake.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Sopik. Any other councillor have a question for Jake? No? Okay, well, thank you very much for coming in. Appreciate that. Thank you. Our next speaker is Tony Cornish from the Essendon Baseball Club.
Before I start, I've got a copy of a dot point for everybody of my submission. If you can have it away with you guys. No worries. Councillor, Deputy Mayor Sharp and councillors and Mayor, thanks for the opportunity to have a chat. First of all, a quick history. Essendon Baseball Club is the largest and strongest baseball club in the country. We've also won the best sporting club in the country in 2015. And we believe we're the jewel in the crown. With the new Baseball Victoria structure, which some may or may not be aware of, the growth of baseball is very exciting. But that puts a lot of strain on our facilities. And the number of teams that we have going forward is going to be huge. We're currently the biggest club in the country anyway, as I said. And we also have to thank Moonee Valley, the City of Moonee Valley, for all their support. You guys have been fantastic for us, and we wouldn't be where we are today without your support. I want to make that noted. We play on it 7 days a week, Monday to Friday, and 12 months a year. Currently, Essendon Baseball Club don't always have their hand out with council, and with the current projects that's gone on at Boeing Reserve, we've contributed up to $800,000 worth of in-kind money and cash from the club. So we're certainly willing to be a win-win with you guys. And currently we've got 2 projects, the storage shed and the back net on Oval 5 that we're funding 100%. So we're certainly doing our bit, and that's putting a lot of strain on our funds. But our request is to reconsider pulling the synthetic surface from Boeing Reserve. There was upgrades to, it was in the budget up until the final hour, and it was pulled. The synthetic surface is now 8 years past its use-by date. Its recommended lifespan is probably around 7 years, and it's 15 years old. Traditionally, the necessary upgrades have already faced a 2-year delay, forcing the club to implement makeshift adjustments to the synthetic to prolong usability, all but unsatisfactory. I want to give you an example. As a compromise to council, we cut the bases, first base, second base, third base. We cut the synthetic out because it was unplayable. It was way too dangerous, and we put dirt down there. so the players could slide on that and so forth. But the problem with that is not purpose-built. So it's on a concrete base with just a bit of scoria on it. I don't think you'd like your child sliding on that base. Right, they're ripping their pants, they're ripping their skin and their hands. We've had serious hand injuries because people diving into the base because it's a makeshift solution that we did because we were promised to have it in this year's budget, so we compromised and did so forth. So these modifications have fallen short, leading to increased injuries and so forth. So Council also had done some pre-testing to put the synthetic in, drilled holes in our synthetic to work out what sort of base was needed. Now there are the lumps on the field from those drill holes. So if you're fielding a ground ball, for example, ball comes along, it could hit that thing, bounce up, hit you in the face. Bearing in mind, we're at the highest level of baseball in the country, and we've got Major League Baseballers in our game and that we compete against, and also from our club over the time. So you can imagine that we have to have a very good surface to play on. Sports in 2022. Sports Eng deemed that the condition of the synthetic was unsatisfactory. There was unevenness, level changes, synthetic fibres snapping and molting, don't know what that means, significant signs of wear and tear, no pile height, ripping, contamination from baseball mix, and replacement should be done within the next 12 months. That was in 2022 from an independent company. Essendon Baseball Club urges Council to reconsider its decision to upgrade the facility, the synthetic, and put it in for the next 8 to 10, 15 years, hopefully. Okay? This is not us wanting more. I know it sounds like, and I know the word on the street is we do get looked after, and I appreciate that, but this is not about a capital works project. This is more about looking after the players and protecting the investment the council has put into our facility. So you sort of think we've got the MCG with a local dog box field to play on. And that's how we feel. So that will be the cherry on top to fix that so the guys can play on a proper field.
I don't want to rush you, Tony, but you've passed your time.
Have I? Well, I'm finished anyway.
Have you?
Just about. The only win-win is, and I've got a win-win for council in that, one of the reasons why the budget blew out was because, first of all, the first quote was way too low, and the fact that the council itself wanted to put the sprinkler system, fix the sprinkler system, which has never worked since it went in, and they want to do the drainage. That's what blew the budget out, and I think scared everybody. So if I had I would want it all done because it makes commercial and common sense to do it all at once. But if we only do the synthetic and not the drainage and the sprinklers, then we can live with that for another day. So that's my win-win to council, and I hope you reconsider. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tony. Does any councillor have a point of clarification to Tony? Councillor Adams?
Thanks, Tony, for your presentation. Just want to clarify so are you saying that, because I would have thought the drainage and the irrigation system would have to be addressed first before you do the synthetic, or?
If you do the drainage and that first, you'll take us offline. Then if you do the synthetic, you're going to take us offline again. Right. So then we might be 6, 8, 12 weeks off without having anywhere to play. Right. So that's why council wanted to do it all at once. The drainage and that has been a problem with the current synthetic, but we've seemed to manage through that. Okay.
So you wouldn't see any problem with doing the synthetic first without?
Oh, definitely there's a problem doing it that way. It doesn't make sense to do it that way.
Sure. Okay.
But it's certainly, we need the synthetic done before we need that done. But it just makes sense to do the both at the same time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Adams. Any other councillor have a question for Tony?
John, didn't you have your hand up?
Yeah.
Sipek?
Tony, in regards to the synthetic, are we talking the whole pitch or just the actual from home base to first base, second base to third?
So the whole baseball field, no. The outfield's grass. Yeah. So some clubs, and especially in America, they have full synthetic through the whole thing, but that's a $3 million project. It's just the infield is what we need done, where the players play on.
So could the infield be grass and just the running tracks between the bases, could that be synthetic?
That would be a logistic nightmare, John. I've never seen it. I'd have to have a think about before I answered that question. I wish you gave me a heads up. But I doubt that would be a solution.
So the suggestion was that we partially do some of this work. So that would be completely
it wouldn't make sense because it wouldn't make sense, and the cost would be insignificant to just do a little bit. You might as well do the whole lot. Would that make sense? You might save 10 grand on a $500,000 project. You see what I'm saying? So it probably wouldn't be a solution, no.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Sypeck. Any other councillor? Councillor Isa?
Thanks for coming in, Tony. Look, obviously I moved the motion at the budget to have a review of some of the projects, and this one, the costs have just escalated from that early amount to now, and providing that extra explanation and us working through that is just part of this process. So I'm grateful for the detail you've provided around that. Thanks.
You're welcome. Thanks very much. Appreciate
Thanks
it.
so much, Tony.
Have
Thanks
a good
for coming
night.
in. The next speaker we have up tonight is Fiona Morabito. If you'd like to join us, Fiona.
Hello.
Hi.
Yes, thank you. Just put that one. Good evening, everyone. Hi. My name's Fiona Morabito, and I'm a secondary senior teacher at Rosehill Secondary College and a mother of three, and a very concerned resident of the Pavilion Estate, East Keilor. Before I continue with my speech, I don't know if you can see, but I've blown these up. So this was an accident in the backyard of 30 Border Drive, East Keilor, this year in April. This one here was in 2009, October, same backyard. You can see the whole fence ripped down and the car's gone right in. These are just photos of two accidents. There's actually been 3 accidents in that property in the last 18 years. So I'm here this evening to advocate for all the residents of the Pavilion Estate in East Keilor whose backyard properties line the back of the Keilor Park Drive, but in particular the area along Keilor Park Drive approaching Hughes Road. Now, these images demonstrate clearly why I stand here this evening. Not one car through the backyard, but 3. 3 cars over the last 18 years into the backyard of 30 Border Drive, a truck into the backyard of number 34 Border Drive, a cyclist killed in 2016, people walking along this strip to get to the bus stop, people walking along here pushing their children in prams to get to the childcare centre. We have the signatures of all the residents along this dangerous road who are pleading for more guardrails to be installed, especially where cars are turning into Hughes Road, into the pavilions. I've been told that council in the past have not had the sufficient funds to spend on this. Is it actually a question of money over safety? What are we waiting for? A fatality, a death, which could have been prevented? Back in 2009, Vic Roads informed me, and I quote, "Hughes Road is a local road and is a matter for the Moonee Valley Council to assess." I've also been in regular contact with Mr. Jonathan Dow, a traffic and transport engineer with the Moonee Valley City Council. I've actually asked him why council have previously installed guardrails inside the Pavilion Estate, the corner of Hassett Crescent and Bradman Boulevard. So this actual corner has quite a few guardrails along the corner. This area of the Pavilion Estate is just where local traffic flows. It's not a dangerous area at all, but yet the corner of Keilor Park Drive and Hughes Road does not have any protection, so this actually makes no sense to me. Once again, is it a question of money over safety? Back in the late 90s, a truck ended up in the backyard of number 34 Border Drive. Back then, council did not actually hesitate to install guardrails along that section of the back of that property. So, I've also been in touch with the Honourable Mr Ben Carroll, who has written to the Moonee Valley Council for us, advocating for us that the council acts now and does not avoid this issue any further. The corner of Keilor Park Drive and Hughes Road is a death trap. Why not install the guardrails? Hughes Road is an entrance and exit point to and from the Pavilion Estate for both pedestrians and drivers. Local traffic has increased over the years. Motorists now turning into Hughes Road to avoid the traffic congestion along Keilor Park Drive as they approach the Miliara Road intersection. So basically, over the last 18 years that I've lived in the area, the traffic into the pavilions has actually increased because people are avoiding the lights and the traffic on Keilor Park Drive. So therefore, the probability of this corner being a dangerous death trap has increased over the years. Cars speeding down Keilor Park Drive, down the hill into a built-up area. We plead to council to make this area safer. The answers we have received to us are not good enough and not justifying anything that we've been told. Our request is clear. Let's work together in collaboration with the Moonee Valley Council to ensure the safety of all involved. So I thank you all for your attention, and I look forward to a positive response, that perhaps council can allocate some funds to this. Once again, is it a question of money over safety? Thanks so much.
Thank you very much, Fiona. Does any Councillor Sypek?
Thank you, Fiona.
Hi, John.
Just for clarification, Hughes Road comes off Keilor Park Drive, so it's halfway between going over the bridge and getting to Miliara Road. Is that correct?
When you say bridge, do you mean coming from...
The bridge over the railway line.
Oh, yes. So Hughes Road is an entrance point into the Pavilion Estate. There is a sign there that says local traffic only, but that sign's been there for years. But there are people, just turning in there all the time, morning, from 3 o'clock in the afternoon. The whole Hassett Crescent is banked up now.
And the speed limit is 80 kilometres an hour along Keilor Park Drive.
The speed limit in that area approaching Hughes Road is 80 kilometres. I think that when it gets closer to the childcare centre, for a period of section, it changes to 60. Yeah. But that's further down.
So, Fiona, with regards to the cars that have careered through that corner property of 30 Border Drive, were they people just not navigating the corner correctly, or was it a police chase, and they've the pictures that you've shown me before, these people weren't driving 80 kilometres an hour. They were driving a lot more than that.
Well, actually, there has been 3 accidents in the 18 years. One of them was just a general person speeding and tried to turn the corner and ended up hitting the fence. That car did not get into the backyard but destroyed the fence again. The one in 2009 was a woman speeding. It wasn't a police chase. The one this year in this one here was a police chase. So obviously the person tried to turn into Hughes Road to escape the police. But this is the one that was a police chase. The others were people speeding. Yeah.
And you mentioned there's a fatality there as well too.
Oh, look, that's got nothing to do with the cars going through the backyard of 30 Border Drive, but that's got to do obviously with the cars speeding there. There was a cyclist killed there back in 2016. Yeah, a bit further up near the park.
So your request is to have that a corrugated iron barrier along there, which will take a lot of the impact of any car that misnavigates the corner or
for sure, definitely. And look, the property of 30 Border Drive is not my property. It's my elderly parents. I live on the other side of the pavilions, but it's not just for them. It's the people using that Hughes Road to actually walk to the bus stop. There's a bus stop just around the corner. So every morning when I drive to work, if I come out of there, I see lots of people walking there to catch the bus. I see young parents pushing prams to get to the childcare centre. I'm not just advocating for my elderly parents, I'm actually advocating for everyone that's using Hughes Road. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Fiona, thanks very much.
Thank you.
Councillor O'Neill, yeah.
Thank you, Fiona. I'm just for clarity, so I'm just on the Google Maps here, so I've got the street view. So there are guardrails on the other side of Hughes Road along Keilor Park Drive, and are you asking for the same sort of thing just on the other side of Hughes Road along Keilor Park Drive, or around the corner into Hughes Road?
I think both, like a little bit on Keilor Park Drive, and a little bit on Hughes Road, because then you have to keep it free. There's a pedestrian walkway there. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Any other councillor have a question on the submission? No? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you so
Fiona.
much
Thanks
for
very much.
your attention. Thanks again.
Thanks for coming in. Thank you. Our next speaker tonight is Nicole Mercer. Nicole there? Yep. Thanks, Nicole.
Hi, sorry, I was just checking out where I was speaking to. Good evening, thank you. Hi, councillors. I'm really grateful for the opportunity to speak at this evening's budget hearing. My name's Nicole Mercer, as you heard. I'm a resident of Avondale Heights. In a professional context, I'm an infrastructure planner with the state government, and I've worked in growth area planning for over a decade. During this time, I've been a program manager for a local infrastructure grants program, which delivers grants to growth area councils for local infrastructure. I love my work. I'm passionate about delivering outcomes for communities, and I'm guessing as councillors you're all here today because you agree and believe in the same thing. And today, for the first time ever, I'm here to advocate for my own community that I live in. I don't often participate in these processes. The submission that I bring forward is really a continuation of a conversation that I've been having with Councillor Tyson, who I can see on the screen, and some council staff over the past 12 months. In my first point of contact for this issue was in April 2023, and I contacted Councillor Tyson to discuss the lack of open space and play spaces in this particular area of Avondale Heights where I live, which is by the local primary school. What motivated me to contact my ward councillor was the underutilised reserve, specifically D Wilson Reserve, which sits on the corner of Johnson and Canning Streets in Avondale Heights. The reserve is located about 400 metres from Avondale Primary School, as I mentioned earlier, and it's a completely empty green space except for a park bench and a sign. There isn't even a bin at this location. It's, the grass gets mown and there's guerrilla local gardening and rubbish dumping that happens there fairly often. This area of Avondale Heights is bordered by the Maribyrnong River, where the little area that's pinned in, other side's Brimbank Council, and Military Road, which is a 4-lane major arterial, as you would well be aware. As I outlined in my submission, this area is experiencing and will no doubt continue to experience significant housing growth. You can't walk around without seeing a knockdown Build 3 townhouse area. There would be no exaggeration that there's no less than 5 to 10 building sites in the area, which I'm not opposed to. In fact, I'm very much in support of well-planned growth, but the reason I bring this submission forward tonight is that with this growth must come adequate infrastructure provision and also accommodation of changing demographics. In my submission, I've outlined that year on year, Avondale Primary Schools experienced an increase in student enrolments. This increase in enrolment was recognised with a $9 million investment from the Department of Education to upgrade this school, which has been fantastic. But despite this growth in children and young families, there's no walkable or easily accessible green play space within this part of the suburb. There are some spaces, particularly on the other side of the river, but as I mentioned, it's a 4-lane arterial with a signalised intersection there. I appreciate that Councillor Tyson came out and met me and discussed these concerns. We walked around the area, and at the time, Councillor Tyson, you wholeheartedly agreed that this was a really missed opportunity for Moonee Valley Council to provide some kind of play space for the children that are in this area on a daily basis. In the year that's passed, I've participated in several engagement activities, including the Reimagining Avondale Heights online consultation process, and contacted the City Futures team as well with my concerns, and I've had absolutely no feedback on this issue, and I'm raising it today because I feel as though there's no other avenue to be heard or to have this discussion. So, for reference, the Reimagining Avondale Heights consultation is still online. It's closed off, but there were 142 responses outlined there, and many of them outline improvements to open spaces requests. So within the 24-25 budget, as my suspicions have confirmed, the things in Avondale Heights, residents, they're not being heard. And I appreciate that financially, for all tiers of government, that money's tight, and I understand how much things cost in my particular line of work. I get that it costs a lot of money. However, Avondale Heights is year on year being completely overlooked in the capital works budget. I looked over several budgets in past years and really failed to see much upgrade to things other than water supplies in Canning Reserve, which is on the main side of the road. I could dig for years and do data analysis, but I have a child and simply don't have the time.
Sorry, Nicole, I don't want to rush you, but you're over your time, and I've got other people behind you, so...
That's fine. My last point is, if I'm reading the budget correctly, there's been $200,000 provided to the Dogs of Travancore, and I'm here today to ask why Council is not willing to engage in a conversation with me about how to utilise this green space better for the kids in the area, and why dogs in a more affluent area of council are being prioritised above children who don't have adequate spaces to play.
Right, thank you, Nicole. Does any councillor wish, Councillor Sypek? As long as it's a point of clarification, please.
How long have you been talking to council for? 12 months?
Just over 12 months.
And you've had no feedback?
I've had a really great discussion with Councillor Tyson, and he came and met me and walked around. I was moved on to the City Futures team within the council and was directed towards the open space consultation, which I don't think has fully been completed yet, and that online consultation for Avondale Heights, reimagining Avondale Heights. And yeah, I've not had a meaningful discussion with anyone in council about this space.
12 months?
Over. It's April. Probably 14.
14.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you. Does any other councillor wish to have... Councillor Tyson? Mayor Tyson?
Thanks, Nicole, and it's good to see you again. I just wanted to, I suppose, let you know that I still share your frustration. I understand we have our open space policy coming to us imminently. I know it's not an issue of money, but it's about a chicken and egg process of we don't want to put the process before we put the money, but I can absolutely see your frustration, and hopefully we'll have good news in the coming weeks.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nicole. Thanks for coming in. Our next speaker up tonight is Matthew Galea from the Essendon Royals Soccer Club, with 2 separate submissions, I believe. Hey, Matt.
Hello. Hi, everyone. Good evening, councillors. My name is Matthew Galea and I represent the Essendon Royals Soccer Club. As the club's council liaison officer, I've been asked to represent the club in speaking to 2 budget submissions we have made this year. The first submission is for an increased allocation of funding to the budget item Parks, Gardens and Open Space Management, specifically for the purpose of ensuring that council's parks team has the required funds to properly repair and maintain the pitches used by Essendon Royals at Cross Keys Reserve. This addition of funding is crucial to address urgent maintenance needs at Cross Keys Reserve, particularly for the complete repairs of all pitches during the spring renovation, and to enable the oversowing of pitches to ensure grass coverage of the fields during winter. We conducted a survey among our club players, coaches, parents and opponents to gather feedback on the condition of the pitches. The survey was sent to you guys in our submission. The responses indicated significant concerns regarding the safety and playability of the pitches. Persistent issues such as uneven surfaces, poor drainage and damaged areas are not only impacting the quality of play, but also pose a safety risk to our playing members and the broader community. Key findings from the survey included 30% of respondents reported injuries attributed or responsible by the poor condition of the pitches, ranging from severe grazing and bruising to serious issues such as ligament injuries and broken bones. We are seeing an increase in ankle injuries at the club, and this was reflected in the survey, with over 20% of respondents reporting twisted ankles or similar issues as a result of the uneven surface of the ground. Uneven surface was an issue highlighted by 80% of respondents. Every respondent referenced their unhappiness with the lack of grass coverage at Cross Keys Reserve during the winter months. Our submission also included a link to a gallery of images depicting the areas of the playing pitches on reserve that have significant holes, as well as videos of players having to hop over big puddles to enter the pitch and the lack of grass on the grounds. During the various meetings with Council's Recreation and Parks team at the reserve over the last 3 years that I have personally attended, The main issue seems to be budget. We're told that there's budget to repair pitches 1, maybe pitch 2, but there's never a budget for pitch 3 or pitch 4. These are the pitches that our youngest players play on. And this is the primary reason, the budget is the primary reason these repairs don't get taken out. We believe it is incumbent on the council to provide a safe playing environment for all users of the reserve, and that includes the dog walkers, the runners, and everyone else that runs on the reserve. And the specific improvements we are advocating for include a budget for the complete repair of all pitches at Cross Keys during the spring renovation, and right oversowing of the pitches at Cross Keys Reserve to ensure a better playing condition year round. These improvements are essential to maintaining the high standards and safety of our sports grounds, ensuring that all players can enjoy a safe and well-maintained facility. Do you want me to talk about the second one now, or pause?
Yeah, that's fine, mate. Yeah.
Just keep going? All right, cool. Our second submission tonight was for funding under the Sports Field Lighting Program for a lighting upgrade and reconfiguration at Cross Keys Reserve. With the ongoing improvement of our club's various men's, women's and junior programs, it has become apparent that the original lighting design of the reserve is no longer meeting the evolving needs of our club, nor achieving the most economic and environmentally friendly outcomes possible. Our senior women's team plays in the NPLW, and our Moonee Valley's only women's soccer team representing the LGA in the top tier of women's football in Victoria. They are unable to play matches at night due to the lux of the lighting on pitch 1, which is currently just about 100. It's not quite uniform 100 across the ground. To play NPLW competition at night, they would require 200 lux. So we'd seek to have the lights for pitch 1 only upgraded to that level. Night games are a crucial component for managing our game schedule. As I'm sure you're all aware, we've got 1,000 players at the club, over 50 teams. So night games, it's not just about getting more people to games, it's about managing our club schedule and being able to effectively fixture all our games. And we also know that pitch 1 at Cross Keys is currently the only NPL compliant pitch in the LGA for senior football. We're requesting the following key improvements: improved lighting over pitch 1 to 200 lux. Upgrading the lighting will future-proof our facilities, ensuring that our teams have access to compliant lighting regardless of the grade we are in. Redirections of lights or addition of bulbs on pitch 1. So currently we have very dark corners that threaten sometimes to have our games called off. It really depends on the referee on the night, what they deem to be safe. But the corners of the ground are very dark. And we also thought this would be a good opportunity to reconfigure the lighting to enable selective pitch lighting. So at the moment, on a Friday night or on training nights where only maybe one pitch is being used, the whole reserve has to be lit up. And it's just unnecessary. We'd much prefer that we could only light up pitch 1 when games are taking place. And we think this might relieve some of the complaints that come through from residents on Woodland Street about the lighting. Addressing these design issues through the proposed upgrades will support the long-term sustainability goals of the council. The Essendon Royal Soccer Club is committed to providing high-quality, safe and compliant facilities for our players, and we hope that Moonee Valley City Council can join us in achieving this for our community. Thanks for your time.
Thank you, Matt. Does any councillor have any question or points of clarification on this submission? No? All good? Thank you very much. Thanks very much for coming in. So our next speaker is James Ordhume. You can come up, James.
Good evening, councillors. Thanks for the opportunity to present. I've been nominated by a large group of regular attendees of the off-lead Alf Pearce Dog Park to promote the implementation of lighting at the dog park to extend non-daylight savings use. The dog park is a fantastic council asset and has very strong participation and use from the community within the council, but also from users in surrounding suburbs. It brings the community together. It provides an important outlet for those that are seeking friendship, common interests and outdoor recreation, and it's had remarkable mental health benefits for many that I've spoken with. There are scores of users that bring their dogs after work but are hampered by short daylight hours from April through to October. This severely limits the ability of users to access the park due to the window of daylight being so short after a workday. For those that are working 9 to 5, it is nearly impossible to get home and get to the park before dark. It results in the fading away during colder months of the community groups that have developed around usage of the park. It also means that our four-legged friends are missing out on this important socialisation, which is very important for dogs. It's important for them to get enrichment, exercise and socialisation, and it limits bad behaviour within our streets. Safety is another issue that has been raised with me by several park users, particularly females that are dissuaded from using the park after dark. Furthermore, trips and falls are more likely in the dark when it's hard to see. Lighting would address these safety issues as there would be more users and obstacles would be easier to see. We took up a petition as a snapshot of users over a 1 hour period across 7 days and received well over 100 signatures. Everyone I spoke to was fully supportive and all were very keen to see the park's operation extended beyond that at present. We are conscious of the effects of lighting on neighbours, so the proposal is for lighting to be directed away from neighbouring properties and turned off at an appropriate time to avoid any prolonged noise for residents. In summary, the reasons we're appealing for lighting are as follows. Short daylight hours in colder months prevent usage of the dog park for workers. Usage of the park promotes better mental health, connections with community, friendships, exercise and outdoor recreation, better use of this wonderful council asset, and better mental and physical health for our dogs. Increased visibility will encourage more users, which considerably increases safety. Increased visibility assists in the avoidance of trip hazards. And finally, extended opening hours in winter months reduces the loss of community bonds and friendships due to lower participation and usage. Thank you very much for the opportunity to present.
Thank you, James. Would any councillor have any points of clarification for this submission? Councillor Adams?
Thanks, James. And look, we've had a lot of community feedback around the great usage of our dog parks outside of daylight hours. So thank you for presenting. We heard earlier from another user, so really appreciate the time it's taken to prepare something. Council is currently waiting on an updated open space strategy, which will help prioritise the level of investment needed in our open spaces to support community needs into the future. So we'll definitely take this into consideration.
Wonderful.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, Councillor Isa, question? Don't go anywhere, James.
Thanks, James. Another presenter also presented on this earlier this evening, and it's certainly something that's, I think, caught the attention of dog lovers around the room. But I was just wondering if you know of any parks, any dog parks in the area, in Melbourne that do have lighting. I just couldn't think of any, and wondered if you had some examples.
Neither could I. I know some of the patrons of the dog park there have mentioned there are others, but I'm not familiar with which ones they are. So as far as lighting design or best sort of fit, not across that. A couple have mentioned that there are some in the suburbs, but I don't know the locations.
Okay. Thanks for that. And look, one of the other things I think that we've been a bit frustrated by is that we don't seem to have a lighting policy, and there's some work needs to be done around lighting policies for open spaces and for streetscapes. So thanks very much for your interest in it and giving us some things to think about.
No problems at all. Thank you.
Thank you, James. Thanks for coming in. Next speaker is Julie Nelson. Thank you, Julie.
Thank you very much, Mayor and councillors. I'm from the Moonee Valley Bridge Club, and I'm here presenting on behalf of the Bowls Club and the Bridge Club, which occupy the same space in Ormond Park. I think I'm presuming that you've had a look at our submission, but what I really want to tell you is how important this facility is and what a good example it is of a multi-use of facilities by clubs, and it came about not through a great plan, through people knowing people, that the Bridge Club came to move in with the Bowls Club. It's made both of them much more viable, and they're excellent clubs, and it's a really good facility. And we're not all old people, but we are of an age where I'm probably representative of the Bridge Club fairly well. There was an Ormond Park master plan some years ago. It looked at the football, cricket and soccer facilities, improved lighting, women's change rooms, girls' change rooms, and some upgrades in the lighting. Some are very recent and pretty spectacular. But it forgot the bit at the end that had the old people in it. Not all Bowls Club people are old people, but it's considered to be a recreation. For that group, I'm impressed by the number of young people that are there. And for young people, all sporting facilities really provide support in the growing up and learning to live with other people and even relating to one another. It's a really good feel at that club. We support one another in our fundraising activities, in everything that we do. It's very harmonious. We came last year with the submission. We've upgraded it a little this year. The cost may have gone up a bit, but really we're looking at a feasibility study for the redevelopment of the club rooms. The request is really founded on the core principle of community engagement, and that's fundamental to council's role. You're the level of government closest to the people, and that's how communities work, and they work really well. So, what can I say about it? I think the most important thing for the Bridge Club, I will say, is the opportunity to meet with other people, to share stories, to have recreation, to keep your mind active. It's got a very strong welfare base. We look after our members, we keep people in touch with one another when they're sick and all that sort of thing. And I noticed on tonight's news even a new report saying how vitally important it is for people to have these sorts of facilities. When I arrived there, I thought it was like playgroup for old people. It was really good, and we did get the opportunity to share things. The relationship with the Bowls Club is even more enhancing. And I'd have to say the social life does revolve around the centralised bar to some extent, which we propose would be kept with the new concept plan, so that the Bowls Club would have a section to the east and the Bridge Club to the north, still leaving the greens in very good shape. The Bowls Club now has a team in the Premier League. I understand this is very important. Not many people do, particularly clubs that don't have pokies. So pokies have been a way in which some clubs have been able to poach people from other clubs and get a better lineup because they've got some ready money. In my background in life, I did some work with problem gambling, and I'm really proud that this club doesn't provide poker machines, because I know all they do is drain the resources of the people who come there regularly. The only people who win are the people who own the poker machines, not the members of the clubs. So I think the club, it really signifies to me how much loyalty there is from our really good players, that they stay with us, even though they could probably get some money going somewhere else.
I don't want to rush you, Julie, I'm sorry, but you're over time and there's people behind you, so I've got to get to time.
Oops. Sorry, so last year we received 7,000 from council to help us with the multi-use. That was for a division in the room, that's helped. The Bridge Club's also contributed 17,000 to soundproofing, which has been an enormous advantage to both clubs. We'd be prepared to improve the facilities, particularly the disabled access, which has been assessed by your officers. Mr Moniz tells me it's well understood, and access to toilet facilities. I know that's a common thread here tonight. But I do ask that you look at it and that you remember that it's an important part of the lives of many people, and not all sport is for younger people. So I commend the plans to you, and I hope you will look at them again. Thank you.
Thank you, Julie. Does any councillor have a point of clarification on the submission? Councillor O'Neill?
Thanks, Julie. You mentioned how the current building is not suitable for disability access.
Yep.
Knowing that some of your members are of a certain age, is it challenging for some who maybe use mobility aids in terms of walkers and things like that?
Thank you for asking that.
Yeah.
Yes, there's one lady I admire enormously. She's in her 80s. She's had partial amputation of her leg above the knee. She gets in there with her wheelchair and she has to get into these toilets that aren't proper disabled toilets. It's right down the end of the building. It's cold. It's a long way. People always look out and make sure doors are open for her and stuff, but she manages to get there. There's a fellow with Parkinson's who's got to walk down a terribly steep incline when he leaves, and people walk down with him to make sure he doesn't overbalance, because that is a real risk. So, yeah, it's very important. And we'd like to do something, we'd contribute to it if we could, but Mr. Moniz tells me that it's really not worth doing at this point with that building. So we leave that in your hands. It's your building, but we're the community who use it.
Thank you. Any other councillor have a point of clarification? No, thank you very much, Julie. Appreciate that. Oh, Councillor Mayor, has a question. Sorry.
Just a quick one, Julie. How have the noise attenuation measures from last year gone?
Oh, brilliantly. We had a congress last week. We have up to 100 people playing bridge in that room, and bridge is a fairly quiet game, so any noise can be... It's deadened it completely. I got them to do some readings, 50% decibel lowering, which is great, and the concertina doors that council has funded make the room sort of snugger and warmer and allow people to do two things at the one time, and it's very much appreciated. They were thrilled that we were given that grant last year. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Julie. Thanks a lot for coming in. Okay, our next submitter is Hamish Jones. If you'd like to come up.
It's 11:7:30 yet. Thank you, councillors, and thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak this evening. I know you've all received a copy of this submission, and I'll try and keep it to the 3 minutes that's been allocated. So I'm here as just a local Strathmore resident, a long-time resident of Strathmore and a lifelong resident of Moonee Valley. I've put in a submission for funding some of the parts of the Boeing Reserve Master Plan that have been waiting for 10 years already, and were needed then and are more needed now. I've put in a proposal for funding for an outdoor combined basketball netball court and a new skate park at Boeing Reserve. The current skateboard ramp there is not fit for purpose, it's not safe, but there are increasing users of skateboards, BMX bikes, rollerblades, scooters that need something in that part of Moonee Valley. We've also had multiple submissions and discussions over recent years about basketball and netball, and it is the perfect opportunity and location for an outdoor court, and again, outdoor basketball and netball facilities were mentioned in the master plan for Boeing Reserve, and I'd like to see that funding replaced. I also put in a submission. I know that it was discussed removing funding from some of the road repairs and maintenance in Moonee Valley. I think that's a mistake, and I'd like to see that reinstated. As sad as it is, cars are still one of the main transport usages across Moonee Valley, and whilst the 2040 plan and other transport options are looking at, I don't think we can minimise spending on roads in the short term. I think that creates safety issues and safety risks, and also community concern, and it's definitely been a discussion point across most social media platforms that there's disagreement with this. Finally, I'd like to see in the current economic climate more effort done to minimise or not have a rate increase. I think there are options that could potentially be looked at by council to enhance services without looking at just spending more money, and I'd like to see more done towards trying to ease the ratepayer burden, given there's a lot of other burdens happening across the board. Thank you.
Thank you, Hamish. Does any councillor have any point of clarification on this submission?
The Mayor has his hand up.
Councillor Tyson, our Mayor. Mayor Tyson.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Thank you, Hamish, for your presentation. So broadly, governments have three sort of budget measures that we look at in terms of budget savings, increased taxes, or supposed to look at decreasing revenue. So you've proposed to keep taxes on hold, increase revenue and remove savings that we've potentially identified. By my calculations, that's probably putting about a $4.5 million black hole in our budget. I know that you've proposed to increase energy saving measures. Do you think that that will really cover that deficit, or are you proposing that we run deficits?
Thank you for the question, Mayor. I'm not a council officer and it's not my job to prepare the budget. I'm making a submission. I've been given 3 minutes to speak this evening. But in terms of opportunities to reduce rates, some suggestions I could potentially come up with are looking at operational efficiencies, shared services with other councils. I did mention energy savings, asset management, looking at other cost-benefit analysis, prioritising projects. I mentioned these projects from Boeing Reserve that should have been prioritised 10 years ago and would suggest they were important then and still important now. There are many other options for the officers to look at. I'm not sure I can go into that detail here given the amount of time that I've been given though.
That answer your clarification point, Councillor Mayor Tyson?
Not particularly, but I suppose when we're looking at 2% of our annual budget, it's quite difficult, Hamish, to see how all of those could be worked through. And I suppose I just wanted to highlight that because it seems very difficult for me to reconcile a $4.5 million hole in our budget.
Thank you, Mayor. Does any other councillor have a point of clarification on this submission? Okay, thank you, Hamish.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming in. Our next speaker is Chris Thrum, if you're here.
Thank you, Chair. Give me a minute. That should be right. Thanks, anyway. There we go. Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Deputy Mayor Narelle Sharp, Mayor Pearce Tyson. Great to see you in the virtual world. Thank you, councillors. I recognise some of you. I appreciate the work and the endeavour that you put into the community. It's much appreciated. Also, too, I want to say hello and thank you to the City of Moonee Valley management team. I know they put a lot of work into the budget and we appreciate the work that you're putting in. I've got a few ideas. I don't expect everybody to agree with me on some of these things, but I'll start off by stating that Moonee Valley Town Hall sits on the unceded lands of the Wurundjeri Woiwurrung people. Sovereignty was never granted. We respect the elders of the Wurundjeri Woiwurrung people. And in this particular instance, I'd like to pay my respects to the elders of the Dja Dja Wurrung tribe in this time. Getting to the budget, I've sent in a submission. I'm sure you've received it. In regards to the trees, I think I want to thank you for the allocation of $1.1 million of planting trees in the next 12 months. It's much appreciated. If you could work with the Royal Botanic Gardens in finding the most resilient species and the most appropriate trees to plant, that would be appropriate because Victoria is the garden state, and the reason it's the garden state is for the work that the first director of the Royal Botanic Gardens, Ferdinand Muller, did back in the 19th century, and his ambition to plant trees all around Victoria that were appropriate for the environment. So, City of Moonee Valley is following in the footsteps of Ferdinand Muller in planting trees in the 21st century. Regards to the bicycle network of the City of Melbourne, I think it's important that City of Moonee Valley recognises that there's a possibility to further integrate the bicycle network of Moonee Valley with the City of Melbourne. And in regards to that too, I think Moonee Valley should look at the fact that the City of Melbourne are concerned about the Moonee Ponds Creek Improvement Plan. That's in a government cupboard somewhere and it hasn't been released. It should be released with immediate effect. So I'd say to Mayor Pearce-Tyson, say to Deputy Mayor Narelle Sharp and your councillors, we need to talk to the government, state government, about the Moonee Ponds Creek Improvement Plan. I've also mentioned about trams. Tram 57, that route, no low-floor trams whatsoever. I think we should have the ambition to have all low-floor trams like in East Brunswick. I've got friends and colleagues in East Brunswick, Carlton, North Fitzroy, beautiful part of the world, of course. They have low-floor trams. They have super tram stops. Part of the works, capital works allocation in the future should go towards a super tram stop. In conclusion, I've read through the Moonee Valley 2040 Community Vision, and a lot of fantastic work's been done by the council officers and councillors in regards to that. So I do appreciate the immense amount of work and vision that you've got here. I'm kind of new to this area. I've only been living in Ascot Vale for 6 months. And it's fantastic to live near the greatest racecourse in the Southern Hemisphere. I'm talking about Flemington Racecourse, of course. So, in conclusion, thank you for giving me the time to speak to you, and I appreciate that very much.
Thank you, Chris. Does any councillor have a point of clarification on the submission? Councillor Isa?
Chris, hello. I just wanted to thank you for all the emails you've sent me in the 6 months that you have since you've moved into Moonee Valley, and welcome to Moonee Valley. And I know a lot of the issues that you've raised are things that we need to advocate on to other levels of government. So thanks for all of your input into those issues, and we'll continue to be talking about those with you, I'm sure.
Thank you, Councillor Isa. And I really re-emphasise Moonee Ponds Creek Improvement Plan. That really should be released as soon as possible. And thank you, Chair, for your time.
Thank you very much, Chris. Thanks for coming in. Our next speaker is Christian Martineau. Not yet? Okay. I'm not sure the next speaker's here either, actually, because it's Stuart Fergie from Strathmore Heights Cricket Club. Are we running ahead? Councillors, we might just break 5 minutes. So people watching on live stream, we're just going to have a break for 5 minutes. We're just waiting for the rest of the submitters to Hello everybody, welcome back. Sorry for that slight delay there and pause, but we're back to hearing submissions. So next up we have Stuart Fergie from Strathmore Heights Cricket Club. You want to come up, Stuart? Thank you. And David Pitt from Strathmore Football Club.
Strathmore Football Club.
Strathmore Football Club, yes.
Good evening.
Hi guys.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor, councillors. Thanks very much for the opportunity to get up and speak this evening. So I'm here on behalf of Strathmore Heights Cricket Club, Strathmore Heights Netball Club, joined by Dave Pitt from Strathmore Football Club. And we're here as co-tenants at the Boeing Reserve Community Hub. I'll speak for a minute or so and then I'll pass on to Dave. We were really excited as co-tenants to see that there was an amount of funding in the budget to support the redesign of the Boeing Reserve Community Hub. We think a project that is very well overdue and something that's been discussed, I think, in previous councils before. We've been tenants as a cricket club now at Boeing Reserve for over 40 years. And as a club, we think the hub and the area of Boeing Reserve is a fantastic sporting precinct, as you'd all know, a hub for the community. We are 3 sporting tenants, but alongside that there are 4 regular community tenants that use the community hub. And I think it's a facility that's been a little bit ignored, to be honest. There's been some great improvements at Boeing Reserve around the community hub, but the actual sporting facility and community hall has been a bit neglected. So it's great to see the funding. We're here today really just to urge and to prove that, I suppose that we're really passionate about this pavilion. It's a pavilion that serves, a wide range of sporting clubs and facilities, and definitely, needs an upgrade in terms of specifically the changing areas and the changing room facilities that are not up to scratch to support the amount of traffic and sporting clubs that go through the facility. So I'll pass on to Dave.
I just want to applaud you, Stuart. You spoke really well. Here I am, I'm pretty nervous myself. In my back pocket here, I've got the 2014 master plan. Looking through it tonight, nothing's on it whatsoever that's come through at Boeing. From a football perspective, is that our football club, being the Strathmore Football Club, we are consistently growing. Our junior women's football program is growing. We need more oval space, which obviously needs a new housing pavilion for our junior football club. Lebanon Reserve, which is our major football ground, is predominantly utilised by our senior football club. We have 7 senior football sides in our football club, but we also have 22 junior teams in our football club, which equates to about 500 kids playing football. The Boeing facility is well underdone. It's in total need of money being thrown at it. But along with that, to serve the community properly, the infrastructure surrounding Boeing, because it's such a beautiful space, could be utilised in a better way. So in support of Stuart, we've combined ourselves together to try and get more funding and get a better pavilion for the local community.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Does any councillor have any point of clarification? Councillor Adams?
Thanks, Deputy Mayor. And just a comment. Thank you, Stuart and David, for your ongoing advocacy and saintly patience for this community hub. It's such a busy precinct with multiple clubs across different sports and community facilities, and with female participation increasing, it's even more pressing for this area to have a hub facility. So thank you so much for your presentation. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you.
Any other councillor? Councillor Sypek?
Thanks, guys. In regards to Boeing and also maybe Lebanon, how do you find the parking around there? Is it
is it really tight as well?
Yeah, go for it. Yep.
At the moment, through the community down at Boeing Road, the football club in itself has been receiving many complaints about cars parking across crossways, parking in spots where people cannot reverse out of their driveways to move around. So in saying that, it's terrible. We cannot keep on top of maintaining parking spots for people. We've also got baseball down there at the same time. So on a Sunday, you may have Sunday cricket down at the far end of the Boeing Reserve. You might have 2 or 3 games of baseball on their main pitches. And then with the newly constructed smaller junior football oval, which is predominantly utilised for junior women's football, we would have up to 400 to 500 in that space of junior football on a Sunday. Wow. So if you think about the amount of parking that's available down there at the moment, I think in front of the Strathmore Community Garden, there's 60 car parks that are marked for parking. There is no parking whatsoever for anyone else.
That's Nursery Corner where the...
down the bottom.
Down the bottom section, yeah. And then there's another 8 out the front of the community up there. So
with the newly built Chris Lane ground and pavilion, which is fantastic, it looks beautiful. Obviously, junior baseball has come in now. They're playing more baseball there, which obviously just creates more parking dilemma for everyone. And I know on hand, like I've got friends who live in Strathmore Heights around Boeing Road, and they're sick of it. They're done.
So you think if we did it, if there was a redevelopment there with a new pavilion, we'd sort of move the garnish around and try and make some more.
Whether it be at Boeing Road or if you do something at the Mascoma Street top end on the hill near the airport, you could potentially have 2 access points there at the same time.
It's a great idea.
I think my thoughts are, you think about the facility, you've got essentially 5 ovals there. It's a fantastic precinct. The parking doesn't meet the need right now, but I know in the master plan there is scope to be able to extend that out, which is definitely needed. But I think potentially looking at double area.
That's a great idea along Mascoma Street, having a second entrance in there.
I think down below, like you could have potential more parking for baseball. And I'm not talking about separating everyone, but at least acknowledging the fact that baseball can come in knowing that they've got bags and kit bags and everything that they need to carry, along with all our football and cricket. If you could do something at the Mascoma Street end, and then cricket and football can come down that way and baseball can come down through Boeing Road.
Yeah.
But it's more about the pavilion. We need a new pavilion.
Okay. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Sypek. Any other councillor have any questions, point of clarifications?
Thank you.
No, thank you very much
for
coming in. Much appreciated. Okay, so next up is Kelly Fergie from Strathmore Heights Netball Club. Thanks, Kelly.
First of all, thank you very much. I am very nervous and not going to speak as well as my husband does. Once again, I am the Strathmore Heights one. You guys are going to get sick of hearing about Boeing, I'm sure, but I am here today on behalf of Strathmore Heights Netball Club, opposed to Strathmore Heights Cricket, although we do work together, obviously, quite a bit. Our proposal is to have the tennis courts down at Boeing resurfaced and utilised as multi-purpose courts. Multi-purpose courts down at Boeing will mean that the space could be utilised by more sports across more regularly throughout the year, rather than just, I know tennis is a predominantly summer sport. Netball is predominantly, or used to be predominantly, winter. However, we are currently in the depths of our autumn season, which is reaching a conclusion and about to head into spring. So the dual purpose courts, my proposal is to, I don't know if anybody's been down there recently, but I could surface my backyard on the grass that's growing in the corner at the tennis courts down at Boeing. They are completely in disrepair, and regardless of the state that they're in, netball is an extremely high growing sport within Australia, but also within Moonee Valley. Last season, or current season, there were about 70% of the participants registered to Parkville Netball Association are from Moonee Valley. There are a lot of courts down at Riverside and Aberfeldy. There is next to nothing in Buckley Ward. We have 2 courts at Bose Avenue, 3 courts, sorry, at Bose Avenue. I lie, currently there's only 2 courts at the moment because we continuously are told that we cannot utilise Court 3. Because of the growth, we do need more courts in the Buckley ward, or I think it's going to be the airport ward soon. Sorry. Netball is a predominantly female participation sport. Females constantly feel like we are let down by a lot of people. Football, soccer, baseball, cricket are all obviously predominantly male. We see a lot of funding across a lot of councils, Australian-wide, going towards these male sports. So seeing a female-dominated sport receive some funding would be amazing. I'm going to stop there because I'm really bad at speaking in public. So if anybody's got any questions.
Thank you, Kelly. You're not bad at speaking.
I really am.
Thank you very much. Any council have any point of clarification for Kelly on that submission? No? Councillor Adams?
Thanks, Kelly. It's hard to speak in front of this chamber. It's very intimidating.
Give me
So you did
200
really,
little
really
kids
well.
and I can.
Absolutely, I get it. Well done. And can I just say congratulations on building the most amazing Strathmore Heights Netball Club.
Thank you.
I know you've been really pivotal in growing that club, and I just want to say congratulations
Thank
and
you.
well done.
Thank you.
And we all appreciate the work that you do in our community, so thank you so much.
Thanks.
With regards to netball, we recently had a indoor sports stadium update come through the chamber, which I'm sure you're across, and there were some things that our officers are investigating to sort of investigate ways that we can help with you guys having training facilities.
Yep.
So I hope that gives you some hope.
Yep.
We haven't forgotten about you, and we know that there is a need, especially down this end, down that end of Moonee Valley, where there is a need for netball courts. So well done. Thank you for coming. And we'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Councillor Isa?
Thanks, Kelly. Look, we get nervous too, so
Yeah, good.
please relax. We get nervous about the questions that we're asking you about. So, but one of the things that struck me at the report that came to us, I think it was in March, I can't quite remember the date of that report, there was reference to a netball strategy, and look, I think, on reflection, I would probably be really keen for us to have a look at an updated netball strategy. I think there's, I guess my question to you is, do you think that would be a worthwhile exercise?
Absolutely. I think some of the data that was in that, from the agenda, I think in the April meeting minutes, was way off track. I think it'd be really good if there was some information gathered from clubs to, how do we utilise these facilities? How do we, work cohesively as a club with other clubs? You would have seen in my budget, I've spoken to people from Strathmore Netball Club and Aberfeldy and some of the other ones in our area, Airport Saints, and they're all seeing massive growth. And I think the data that was put forward in that meeting was not indicative of what we all know. So I think a netball strategy is definitely worthwhile. Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you. Councillor Byrne?
Thank you, Deputy Mayor, and thanks, Kelly, for coming along. Obviously, we've had a bit to do with each other because of the issues at Bowes Avenue, but it's always been a pleasure. I was just wondering, in that report that came through in April, there was mention of courts that were potentially available within the schools around you.
Yep.
How's that all looking, or what are your thoughts on that?
It's an interesting one. Ideally, for my little net set goers, for example, I would love to be training them at a school because you can get them straight out of school. It's perfect after-school care for families. However, when you think about the logistics of, for example, I coach the net set goers, so the tiny, tiny little ones fresh to netball. I also coach the under-17s and an under-13 team. I can't get from a primary school to, say, Bowes Avenue or Boeing, wherever a court may be. But my big kids need to be training after 5 o'clock because I can't be everywhere all at once. Schools don't have lighting to train after hours. All the indoor stadiums, so pardon me, I work at Strathmore Primary School. The indoor stadium is utilised by basketball. So we can't use those facilities. There's also the issue of after-school care. Some after-school facilities don't want additional patrons in the space, or it's not allowed from schools. I have had that feedback from other schools because of, duty of care, toilet use and whatnot. So it is really challenging being at a school. I mean, I think ultimately for me, the lighting situation, especially, it's quite dark in the winter months. It's getting dark about 4:30, 5 o'clock. It's not feasible for an under-17 team or even under-13s to be training straight after school. They can't get there at all. So schools, whilst it'd be great for some of the little ones, the logistics is a nightmare for us volunteers that need to be everywhere.
Thank you. Any other councillor? No worries. Thanks very much, Kelly, for
Thank you so
coming in.
much.
Thank you. So the next person up is Trevor Pepper from Airport West Tennis Club, please.
Good evening, councillors. Our submission, as you've probably read, is for new club rooms. Airport West Tennis Club's been in the area for 54 years and our club rooms are that old, 54 years old. They are at the stage now where they're completely stuffed, I suppose is a technical word. In 2018, the council themselves said the need for a new pavilion was identified in Moonee Valley City Council's growth in tennis. The plan noted the club room is in poor condition, potentially asbestos that is limiting any improvements. Access for people with mobility issues is a priority. It also identified the need to renew the pavilion to include DDA compliant toilets and social facilities. That was back in 2018. Since then, we've had major problems with water issues. We've had problems with spouting. We're just continually having to fix the thing up. It's got to the stage now where it's beyond repair. And a few of your councillors have been to our club rooms, you know what they're like. It's a big project, we know that, but we need the support from council. Tennis is a growing game and our club is growing. We've got over 200 members. We range from the little kids all the way up with ladies, juniors, men's, women's teams. We are growing. We're promoting our club as a family club. We have good courts, we have good lights, but absolutely hopeless club facilities. We would like to think the council would come on board to help provide this thing. We know that council hasn't been supportive in the past for tennis. We're hoping this will change because other councils do provide facilities for their tennis communities, and we'd like our council to do the same. It is a big project, we know that, but I'm sure it's one that will be benefit to both. It'll be benefit for us to have new club rooms, and it'll be beneficial for the council to say that they've provided the facility for a community project like this. That's all I have to say, and I thank you very much for listening to me.
Thank you, Peter. Does any councillor have any point of clarification on this submission? No? All good?
Beautiful.
Thank you very much, Peter. Trevor. Sorry, I jumped to the next speaker. Sorry, Trevor. It's marked in green because name change, so that's my excuse anyway. Sorry. So our next speaker is Peter. Is he here? Peter Koukoulas.
Excuse me, Deputy Mayor, as I've declared a conflict, I'll step out. Thank you.
Thank you.
Councillors, good evening. My name is Peter Koukoulas and I'm the President of Moonee Ponds United Soccer Club. Thank you for the opportunity to present tonight. I know it's getting late, so I'll try and be quick. On behalf of the committee, we're obviously here to express our disappointment that the Aberfeldy East Pavilion hasn't got up again since 2008. I think it's about the 5th time. I'm going to give a quick history of our club. 2024 will mark the 19th year of our club's registration. To make it clear, throughout the years, we've supported every possible scenario to fast-track the build of this facility. Amendments, redesigns, location changes. We haven't fought back with council on any scenarios presented to us. We're just trying to get that pavilion up. I don't have to talk to you about the growth of football. You, Moonee Valley Council, have a soccer strategy in place. We remain absolutely committed to growing our program into a very large and successful one. But our female program desperately needs council-backed support. Female-friendly facilities and spaces are not only really important and key to our success and growth, facilities are a requirement from Football Victoria. The safety and comfort of our female members is paramount. We've specifically been unable to secure senior women's participation due to lack of facilities at J.F. Fullerton. If you've ever walked into our dilapidated pavilion there at J.F. Fullerton, and you know it's far from inviting, and frankly, it's far from a safe place to house our male, let alone our growing female participants and members. Over the last 2 years, Moonee Ponds United has recorded the largest growth in memberships and, more importantly, participation in the Moonee Valley municipality of any sporting club. We remain the only soccer club in the municipality without a purpose-built pavilion for our members. Every soccer club that I can think of, other than ours, has a building at their disposal, with some having multiple sites. Our projection indicates growth isn't going to stop. We're probably likely to leapfrog 3 local soccer clubs in the next 12 to 18 months. There's many full teams that are asking to join our club. And it's with that I talk about the community club, because we will and continue to be a community-based club. We pride ourselves on being able to offer to anyone in the community of any ability to be able to play, rather than being a destination club like some of the clubs in the area. That's perhaps the most significant point of contention. We understand. We want the council to understand that we'd like you to fairly accommodate not only the elite clubs, but the community clubs equally. After different master plans, redesigns and failed attempts with this new pavilion, we basically haven't been offered a contingency of any sort. Instead, it's kind of a better luck next time. We're here to say that we just can't keep turning away kids. The kids that play, it's the hardest thing to do, to turn away a young kid that wants to play a sport, especially these days. It's so important. But yeah, we're trying to facilitate the participation at the current level of demand in the local community, kind of with our hands tied behind our back. With these points, I guess I just wanted to say that we're servicing our local community members. We are we're one of the main community clubs in the area, and there's no point in being a community club without having a place to come together. We need a solution from our council. So thank you for your time tonight. I did have Charlotte here, who was a concerned parent, voicing her opinion or her thoughts to me. I have a daughter who's come to the club, and I'd she would like to share it with you, but that's up to you if we've got time. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. Thank you. Did you want to
If I
have a
may.
chat for a minute, Charlotte? Yep.
If I may, that'd be
Thank
great.
you.
Hello, councillors and ladies and gentlemen. Look, Pete has summed up, I think, the feel of the club. I am the proud mother of a daughter. She plays in under-9s this year. She has joined the club in the last 12 months, and we have truly felt the benefit of the community spirit that this club brings. My hope was that with the Matilda effect from last year, these girls would look up to a senior team that they could want to emulate, and they wanted to be part of a club. And unfortunately, that doesn't exist right now. But also there is concern that there isn't the opportunity for these girls to continue to grow in the club. Every training session they have to, if they need to use the facilities, walk 5 minutes in an unlit path up a hill to a change room that is actually set up for males. So for us, it's about how can we work together with the club and hopefully with the council to come up with options that will service these girls as they want to grow with the club. They're getting to an age, there are 40 of them, that they'll need to have facilities that are female only and that give them that support. So I join Pete in really asking the question if we can work with you on finding a solution that will keep this community club going and give the opportunity to many more girls and many more kids in the area. Thank you.
Thank you, Charlotte. Does any councillor have any question on the submission tonight? No? Thank you very much for coming in, both of you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks very much. Our next... Oh, yeah, Councillor Adams. Sorry, Councillor Adams has to come back in. Please. Thank you.
Hello.
Okay, yeah, sorry, our next speakers are online, and we have a combined effort from Brett Gorfine and Stephanie Workman.
Can you hear me okay?
Sorry. Yes, we can see you. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you. Just let me know when you want me to start.
Yeah, you're fine to go. Thanks very much.
Thank you all very much for inviting us this evening and taking the time to listen. My name is Stephanie, and my husband Brett and I are both residents in Aberfeldy, and we also have children who attend Aberfeldy Primary School. We walk to school and home from school every day, which includes crossing Ramsay Street, and we've recently become increasingly concerned about the safety issue on Ramsay Street. If you're able to switch to the next slide, please. Thank you. And I'll just, yeah, perfect. So basically, to summarise, Aberfeldy Primary School is bordered by 3 roads. 2 of them have a school crossing, but Ramsay Street does not. There are 2 entrances to the school, Ramsay Street being one of them, but like I said, it's the only one that doesn't have a school crossing. There's significant traffic congestion in the area at drop-off and pick-up time, and it's not just school students, but it's also footy club, tennis club and netball club kids. So it can get quite busy in the area for that concentrated period of time. Recently, I think if you go to click one more time for me, thank you. Recently, the council put in off-street parking, which has been really good in addressing some of the congestion problems, but it's had the unintended side effect of increasing the speed of traffic in the area, and it makes it even more difficult to cross. So now we have parked cars, there is congestion, occasionally there's traffic travelling way too fast for the area. There's a bit of a crest on the western side, so it's become a very difficult road to cross for an adult, let alone for a child. I've personally witnessed 2 near-miss events which make me feel a bit sick in the last few months. One of them involved a child on a bike, another was a little boy who was trying to cross the road, and both of them involved traffic that I think was travelling way too fast in the area. I've spoken to the principal of the school, who's indicated that he was aware of a number of other near-miss events in the area that involved kids from school, and I've also spoken to a lot of parents who are equally concerned about the area. I think you can click again for me, please. Thank you. And it feels like every parent that I've spoken to has a story or some event that they've witnessed that makes them really concerned about the safety in the area. I think if you can keep going through, I've got one more slide at the end. Thank you. So just to summarise, we love living in Aberfeldy. We welcome improvements to the area. We think it's fantastic that the council invests in the facilities and amenities, and it's great. But this particular issue is a safety critical issue and it needs to be a priority. We are very concerned, I guess, about the safety of kids in the area, and we really, really appreciate you considering a school crossing in Ramsay Street as a priority in the next budget before there is a disaster on that road. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Stephanie and Brett. Any councillor have any question on the submission of clarification? Councillor Byrne?
Thank you. I was just wondering, are school children allowed to leave out the back gate through Ramsay Street, or are they directed to go out through the front?
No, they leave out the back. It feels like about half the school goes out there because it's just whatever's closest, I think.
The gates are locked during school hours.
Yeah, no, that's what.
Yeah, same as all the other gates around, but they're all open. So yeah, we definitely see a lot of parents coming in that way.
So is it that like little gate between, like sort of closer to the netball courts that people generally go out of?
Yeah. There's one at the netball courts, and then there's another two further down towards Falconer. So there are actually 3 gates, but most people seem to come through the one further to the west, next to the netball courts.
And that's where you would be hoping where you would see benefit for the crossing to be?
I think so, yeah, that seems to be where most of the traffic or pedestrian traffic tries to come from, or sort of that seems to be where everybody goes in. So I guess near one of those gates, but that would be the obvious one, in my opinion.
Oh, thank you.
No worries.
Thank you. Does any other councillor have any question? No? Well, thank you very much, Stephanie and Brett, for coming online and joining us. We appreciate your submission.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, thank you. So the next speaker will be joining online also, and he is actually our final speaker for tonight, and it's Tony Silvestro. I believe he's online now.
Hello.
Hello, Tony. I can hear you, but I can't see you yet. There you are, maybe. Yep, there you go. Now I can't hear you.
You're on mute, Tony.
Are you on mute? You're on mute.
I'm mute.
There we go.
Now, can you hear me?
Yes, thank you.
Perfect. Go for it.
All right, thank you. Thank you, and good evening, councillors. I would like to share my screen, but I'm not sure how that's going to work. I can share my screen. If you just bear with me one moment, I'm going to show you the photographs that I want to show you. Can you all see those photographs? No.
Yes, now we can. Yes.
Okay, all right, thank you. Okay, so I wanted to talk to you about I'm a resident of Afton Street in Aberfeldy. I live right opposite the Afton Street Conservation Park, and I'm really concerned about the standard or the condition of the car park down the end of Afton Street. That's the car park that is just next to the Afton Street footbridge, and the car park that also acts as the entry point into the Afton Street Conservation Park itself. The photographs here, I think, tell you the story of the car park. The car park itself's been around, I think, for 20 years when the council, when the council took ownership, I believe it's ownership of the property from the Department of Defence. But what you can see here is the car park is in the same state as it was 20 years ago. And even when it was started 20 years ago, the car park was never really set up properly. But you can see what's happened over the course of 20 years. After rain, the first page there on the left, the top slide, the car park is just full of potholes. They fill with water, and they're not small potholes. The surface throughout the car park is very uneven. It's a mixture of gravel that was laid 20 years ago, and the original, I think, bitumen road that Department of Defence land laid, who knows how long ago, and the two come together and form a very uneven surface. Even the bitumen part, the second photo down on the first page of the left-hand side there, you can see the condition of the solid parts of the road. It's in a very poor state. On the middle page, you can see that up the top there. What you can see there is that is the entry point into the Aberfeldy, into the Conservation Park area. And again, as you can see, after rain, that's a very unattractive, unwelcoming entrance into what is a wonderful park. I don't know why people would want to go in there when they've got to navigate through mud and water. And often after rain, because of where that entrance is located, which is near the dammed section of the I think it's the wastewater that gets collected there. It collects a lot of waste, plastic bottles and papers and all sorts of things. So you've got to walk through all that as well. So, again, in pretty poor state. You can see that the other two photographs really give you a sense of the extent of the condition, the poor condition of the car park. And you can see on the rightmost page down the bottom, it's just not looked after. You can see the fence there. That fence that's broken, that's next to the road there, that's the road within the park, has been in that state for, I don't know, many months. The other thing I'd say too is the access out of the car park. It's not that well shown with these photographs, but it's for those of you who've been there and trying to drive out, it's a very narrow road, very awkward to navigate out of the car park and then into Afton Street. A couple of other things that I would just like to point out. The car park's very dark, there's no lighting, and it's an unwelcoming place, particularly obviously at night. But also, a number of months ago, just to give you an example of how dark it is, someone dumped a car there and set it on fire in the middle of the night with fire trucks and all sorts of things. So it sort of gives you an idea of how dark and unwelcoming and how unsafe it is as a place to go. The other thing I want to point out is the improvement of this car park was originally included in one of the council budgets I think it was about 4 or 5 years ago, pre-COVID. It was taken out of the budgets a few years ago as well, for the reason of Melbourne Water running a number of projects, a number of water sewerage projects through the park, and for that reason, as I was told at the time, they decided not to do any work. Well, from what I understand, Melbourne Water's now finished those projects. They were fairly extensive projects, but the renovation or the refurbishment or the cleaning up of the car park hasn't come back into the car park itself. And then finally, I just want to give you an impression, I think, of what the car park would look like. This is the Tilda Street car park, very close to Afton Street car park. It's the car park that overlooks Aberfeldy Park. Now, a few years ago, this car park was in a similar condition, probably not as bad as what I've just shown you with the Afton Street car park. But you can see what a wonderful thing that can be done to the look and amenity of our environment and of the car park and of the whole area. It can make quite a difference. So I appeal to you. I think the car park really needs some investment. It's really being neglected. It's an important part. It can be an even better and more attractive part of Aberfeldy.
Thank you very much, Tony, for your presentation. Does any submission? Does any councillor have a question on Tony's submission? No? Well, thank you very much, Tony. We appreciate you joining us online and presenting your submission to our draft budget process.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Tony. Thank you.
So, as Tony was our last submitter tonight, that concludes the hearing of submissions on our draft budget for 24-25. So thank you to all the submitters who came to us via online or in the gallery, and all the people who joined the submitters as well and who came in tonight. We very much appreciate your input, and we'll consider all submissions as part of the final budget deliberations, and a formal response will be provided to everyone who has made a submission. So please rest assured that you will receive contact from council. So this concludes our informal meeting tonight at 8:35. Thanks very much for joining us.